It tinkles.
Yeah.
I
like how it's
it's
very tart.
It's very tart, just like us.
Very tart,
Yeah,
like we are.
Tart. Hey, creative bitches. I'm Fiona. This is Micah.
I'm Micah. This is Karena.
Welcome to Creative Happy Hour. Cheers to you.
Cheers. Welcome back.
Welcome back. So, today we are drinking the Admiral.
Yes.
This is a drink that we picked mainly for the name. In fact, we didn't fucking know what it was because we wanted it to fit with our theme. So basically, what does the Admiral have to say about our theme is that
something very dear to my heart, which is winging it.
Winging it.
And so this drink has elements of winging it because
very much so.
Everyone changes this drink every chance they get.
Exactly. So more than just winging it, actually, we were inspired by a Shonda Rhimes speech. It was a TED speech that she did, a talk, and then she wrote a book about it called The Year of Yes. So basically we started thinking about, you know, the creative possibilities of saying yes, and we got drunk on the creative possibilities of saying yes.
We often do.
But then, of course, since we're sometimes negative bitches, especially me, then we started thinking, well, sometimes you have to say no. So that's when we were like, well, fuck it, let's wing this shit. So here we are.
Here we are, just pulling a drink out of our
tushes. And we chose the Admiral because we thought, yes, sir. And we thought that's going to go with yes. But then the minute we started thinking of no, we're like, we're done for. We're like ruined. Oh my God, her phone's going off.
I know. And I just learned how to turn off the vibrator.
Fucking time of day.
The vibrator.
The vibrator. Good one. Yeah. It's been that type of day for both of us.
Oh,
so this is why we're just going to let your phone.
We are fighting to do this podcast.
We really are.
We're fighting against the universe.
We are.
It's
we're
like
clawing our way.
Yeah.
But one thing that made us really happy was that we read that every single person who's ever made this Admiral drink actually changes it up. So they say no to the original recipe.
Yeah.
And they freaking wing it, which made me really happy because that's
what we that's exactly what we needed.
Right? So we're going to tell you guys how we made this drink, which I like it. I don't know if you do. Let's taste it. Let's taste it one more time. Let's do it. Okay, full disclosure, I had one this weekend. Research brunch.
Oh, is it similar?
The one I had this weekend was sweeter, and it was kind of more real because it had a big rock in it, and we're too poor to buy the big ice making thing.
Right.
Which, you know, sponsor us
Hello.
and give us a big ice maker and send us some real glasses, please, because we're pathetic. But the one I had this weekend, I think they made it with. So I'll tell you the recipe that they made. And then, because I memorized that, even though I can't remember anything else in my life, it's cool. But they had bourbon, or actually rye. It was rye.
It's rye.
And their rye, they used 4 roses. They're
okay.
Like,
I like 4 roses.
Yeah, it's totally
good.
It's totally fine. I know they're like, do you want 4 roses? And then my husband was like, oh, he was about to say whistle pig. And I was like, shut the fuck up. Because, you know, you're going to mix it with so much stuff. Who cares?
I know. So I like whistle pig too.
Of course. But when you're making something like this, forget it. And then it had bitters in there. And then it had honey. It had ginger.
And dry vermouth.
And dry vermouth and lemon. So that's how they made theirs. We riffed on that a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yes.
So
we got creative.
We got very creative and we said hell no to some of the ingredients and we said sure, why not to others. So, you know, we're kind of like yes and no.
Yeah.
Like hot and cold. We had no idea. But main ingredient in ours in terms of the rye
was Bulleit
Bourbon. Or Bulleit Rye. Well, frontier whiskey is what they call it. It's kind of a mashup of, you know, traditions. Were you familiar with the Bulleit brand?
Oh, yeah. Way too familiar.
Yeah, baby, familiar.
I mean, this is where I come from. I come from bluegrass country. I grew up. I mean, the stuff that's in this is coursing through my veins on a regular basis.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's. I'm just like, oh, it tastes like.
It tastes like mother's milk to me.
Oh, that is so unfortunate, but true.
But true. So I actually got to meet Mr. Bulleit because in my previous life as a serious journalist, I wrote a feature on Bulleit Bourbon and on the family. And Mr. Bulleit is a very charming dude, like, you know, kind of most interesting man in the world type of guy. And we got to go to their San Francisco kind of corporate headquarters for their distributor. And I got to meet him. And then he invited us to a whiskey tasting event. And we ended up just chatting to him the whole evening. And then, I got Christmas cards for a while, and then he gave up on me because I'm lame and I don't follow up.
Well,
so life is good.
Yeah, you burned that bridge.
Totally.
And we actually need that guy.
I know. So hi, if you guys. Anyway, so that is.
Gotta get those Christmas cards out.
I know, seriously, but it works really well. I love it, and what I love about them creatively is the bottle, which what's the show that they had these bottles on?
Little House on the Prairie?
No. No, it was, God, not Westworld. We'll look it up. We'll let you guys know.
Yeah, we'll have to
Even though for those of you who listen to the podcast, you're fucked, basically. You won't know what it is. But those who watch us on YouTube will find out exactly which TV show. It's like a frontier town, blah, blah, blah. And the Bulleit bottles looked really authentic. So basically they have them on the shelves, on set. So then our other ingredient, this is one of your faves. So I'm gonna present this. Yeah, have you present this. So
extra dry. I'm usually how do you say this? Noilly Prat?
Noilly Prat or something. It's whatever.
I am generally more of a sweet vermouth.
You are.
Person,
you're a sweet vermouth gal.
But if I don't have any sweet vermouth, I will drink the dry vermouth.
See, just improv.
Yeah, my whole life is about winging it.
See? I'm like, winging it's amazing. And we have a great little story to tell about winging it. Since we're winging it, we're not going like really in order.
Scripted.
Yeah, I was listening to Henry Winkler actually talking, and he's so fun. He's a fun actor who, he's been in TV for so long, and he's adorable. And Jenny McCarthy, who we also love. So shout out to Jenny McCarthy because she's our radio crush.
Hi, Jenny.
Really like her because she's very, she covers
covers bases for us.
Many bases.
She's hitting the bases.
Yeah, she is.
Bases.
And so she was interviewing Henry Winkler, and he'd just come back from South by Southwest. And I was like, what? We didn't get to have drinks together. What? And he was talking about having gone to an improv class. And he said something really interesting, which was that improv and acting are all about listening and kind of so that you're reacting rather than acting. So if you listen and observe, it makes your job that much easier. And I was like, oh my God, that's like a poetic way of saying like, this is how you wing it properly. And I think that extends to all kinds of creative stuff. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like if you actually listen, or if you actually read the question, or you read the article, or, observe what happened, like I think that your way of analyzing or reacting to it or deciding things from it is that much more smart and direct.
Yeah, and original. It happens all the time when I see patients.
Your goddamn phone, girl. Oh my God.
It's not my kid. That's all I care about. I go in and I feel like it's a stage sometimes because you don't know what people are going to say to you. No. Yes. You don't know what they're.
I was like that in retail. It was the same way.
You never know what they're going to come out. And sometimes you're like, what? Mm-hmm. Why did they disclose that to me?
Right. You're like, oh my God, it's like the craziest writing prompt of all time, or the craziest improv thing of like, wait, freeze. Now the patient wants to sue your ass. And you're like, what? Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty crazy though. And so you just use it as material. And I think the listening part is when you listen to people. I also found when I was doing sales that was a strategy that, a lot of times people would be wanting to negotiate something. And the less you say,
the more they're trying to fill in that blank.
Yeah, right? Because it makes them uncomfortable. And so they start,
it's the art of the awkward silence.
Yeah. And it works
wonders.
Amazingly in good and bad situations because in sales you're not going to sell anything to someone that they haven't sold to themselves.
Exactly.
You want them to sell it to themselves.
Right.
You're not going to convince anybody of anything.
No, they're coming in
because they facilitate that.
Exactly. Like they're coming in because they think you're going to solve their problem. So all you have to do is not convince them that you're not going to solve their problem, and then life is good. So
it's true.
Yeah. So what else did we put in our drink, by the way?
So we put lemon.
We put lemon.
We put some
fresh,
ginger.
Not so fresh lemon juice.
We
had a day. So it's okay to do shortcuts. It's okay to say, you know what, I don't have time to peel and juice and do all that crap. Yeah, we cracked open. It's organic.
Yeah, I mean,
it's organic.
I think that
we did fine.
I think it's fine.
And we did ginger juice because
again, what else did we put in? Well, I don't even know that we want to tell them that we did the magic potion.
Yes, we did. So most people will put some honey in it.
Wingman potion?
Yeah, because I
was like, sure.
Yeah, sure, let's
great.
put that in. So full disclosure, we'll tell you guys that we put in some roses sweetened lime juice.
Yeah, that was where things went kind of.
Maybe not our finest hour. But frankly, we're not going to get scurvy and we're not getting a cold right now.
No, and we couldn't find the bitters, so we just... We're kind of bitter about it.
A little bitter. We're a little, So but you know what? I like, and the big rock is like my disappointment.
I like how it is.
But it tinkles.
Yeah. I like how it's very tart.
It's very tart, just like us.
Very tart, like we are.
Tarts. And, exactly. And I honestly, I enjoy it. Like,
I mean, I would rename this drink the lemon tart.
The lemon tart. So, okay. This is not the Admiral. We've decided now we're going to say no to the Admiral.
We're
scratch that. Sir, no, sir.
Yeah,
and we're going to rename it the Lemon Tart.
The Lemon Tart.
In the title episode, we might still call it the Admiral because...
Well, it could be. The patriarchy. Yes, we don't want to come down too hard on the patriarchy.
We don't want to smash the patriarchy too badly.
Not
yet. Not now. But yes, I think the lemon
tart.
The lemon tart. And honestly, the other difference with this one is that it's the one I had this weekend was a lot more smoky. And I don't know how they did that because
that has to do with the bitters and the rye.
The rye.
So we were a little bit slim on the Bulleit. So if you guys want to send us a bottle,
yes,
we need a new bottle.
Yeah, it's a little sad. So that's probably our big issue that we had. Was a little bit not enough Bulleit. I mean, you can never have too much Bulleit. Except
you need a Bulleit.
No guns, but mucho Bulleit.
Yeah.
So that was our recipe, and I'm liking it. It's tart. It's kind of at the end of today, which we're a little bitter about. I'm good with it.
It's really nice.
And you know, at the end of the day, like here's the whole thing about improv, because I think that we're going to talk about the whole Shonda Rhimes power of yes and year of yes and how to say no and all this stuff. But I think that this whole drinking part, we're a little bit loosey-goosey, and we can talk more about the improv. I feel that you can improvise more when you've gotten more familiar with things and that you've practiced the right way of doing things. So we've been measuring out our drinks. We've been, making things almost correctly.
But the best, up to the recipe.
Yes.
We've been going to the recipe and saying, this much of this and this much of that.
But now we're a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
So we think, let's go for it. And then sometimes maybe you should say no to me when I'm like, throw in the lime.
Throw in the lime. We're the sweet lime thing. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. Learning how to make, say yes and no to things, I think is absolutely essential.
For sure. So we both have days where we have been a little bit overwhelmed today. Like, or underwhelmed.
Today was
insane. So tell me about your day, because you know what? We didn't prepare a glass half empty, glass half full, so we're just going to have to go
Well, the glass half empty was, my daughter was refusing to go to this technology class. And I was like, get out of my car. You're going to this class.
Bitch, get out of my car. It's not, it's like the opposite of 50 Cent. Bitch, get in my car. It's like, bitch, get out of my car. Bitch, get out my car. I love it.
Yeah, seriously.
Too bad we can't afford like the music rights, because we'll be playing it in the background.
Oh my gosh,
it's a bummer.
Totally.
It's a bummer.
It is a bummer because it goes so perfectly.
So
and then then I get the call at 3:40 that she's at ballet and none of her friends are there. They're all sick, and I'm like,
she's not there to dance. She's there to be with her friends.
And I care because
I don't. Yeah.
I was like, go to class, get off the phone and go to class. Like all day, I feel like I'm being stalked by a 12-year-old.
Oh yeah, but don't worry, it doesn't get better.
Oh no, and I'm gonna go pick her up, and it's gonna be a whole nother.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be more issues.
Yeah, we're gonna go down. There's gonna be
it's gonna be ugly. I'm sorry. Like when it starts that way, it doesn't improve.
Yeah, and then work was like that too. It was like, I took the scan, and then they couldn't, and then the lady was telling
dental
me no
assistant. By the way, for those of you who don't listen to every single episode, but really you should catch up, please.
Yeah, come on.
So so scans.
Yeah, so I was doing a scan, and then they, it turns out that they tell me that since the patient isn't, an Invisalign patient, that they can't do the retain, and it was just like, and it's all technology based. Yeah. So it's like, you gotta call the people.
God. Technology has been your nemesis today.
All day.
All day. Mine too. Okay, keep going.
I think something's in retrograde, and I don't know what it is, but It's been bullshit all day. And I don't know.
I'd rather it be Bulleit
shit. Bulleit shit. No, it's seriously. Yeah, we're going to change it to Bulleit all day, not bullshit all day.
See, we've turned it around.
No, but I wonder what that is, the technology thing.
The technology thing, because
Maybe we need to say yes to technology. I can't even.
I've tried.
I can't even speak.
I've tried. I know. I can't even say it.
Speak it.
I've tried. Like today, I was fighting with. First of all, my computer hates me, and I get it. I understand.
Like, you were fighting with your avatar.
Totally. I mean, I get it. My computer hates me. I would too. But I've been trying to. I mean, it's just been such a learning curve for me trying to edit all of our videos and then upload the podcast so that we're finally, syndicated and all this shit. Except, can I find our podcast anywhere? Not so much. We're syndicated, kind of like, in name only. Keep looking for us on iTunes and Spotify, because maybe by the time this airs, maybe
do you think somebody's
worked out.
Do you think somebody's pushing us down under the water?
I don't understand what's happening. It's so
like,
frustrating.
oh, bitch, that's my idea. And
exactly.
They push us down.
Boom, boom, boom.
No.
Well, the crazy, frustrating thing is that there's so many people who will record one podcast and then give up. I understand. But they're crowding that space.
Every day.
I know, we're not doing it. Don't worry, we're going to be here for a very long time, or be scared, we're going to be here for a very long time. But I realize how long it takes to do all this stuff. And I realize that this is not my key competency, and it's keeping me away from the creative bits. And you're feeling the same way. Like, it's that frustration that comes when we've said yes to these things, which are important to us. But then we're like, wow, I wish I could have said no to the other things that suck, and I wish I could be a little bit more. And like, I have a very hard time being, super like loosey-goosey about my scheduling and everything else. So when things go south, or when, my schedule ends up being changed by traffic or by, change of plans, I'm just like, wah! And I don't deal with it very well. So, but that was my day. And if any of you people listening want to be involved with our podcast, or want to help with editing or writing descriptions or just general cool assistanting, please, we're begging you.
Yeah, we need help. We are technologically.
Yes. Clearly, we need help.
I mean, clearly, my daughter can't help me.
No,
because she can't even.
She's not done it.
She doesn't even show up to her technology class.
Well, notice my daughter. I mean, this is the best part. My daughter was visiting.
Oh,
and she was like, "I'm gonna help you guys. Yeah, I'm gonna transform your whole entire thing." And then she's like,
she was like, "Oh, my camera storage is all
that doesn't look as good as I thought it would." I'm like, "Oh, join the club," because that's what I say every morning in the mirror. So.
Oh my God. Me too. I don't even look. I'm like, okay.
Me too. Do you know?
I'm like, forget it. I'm not even good. I'll just slather on some makeup and then hope that I don't look like
I hope it's okay.
Hope I don't look like Donald Trump when I get in the car.
I walked out one day. Oh my God.
And you look like you got bitch slapped.
Well, I hadn't looked in the mirror as usual, and I literally had lipstick all over my face.
You were Robert Smith from The Cure.
I was. I had.
Which, by the way, I love Robert Smith from The Cure.
Oh, me too. But I don't think my look and his look are really.
Yeah, they don't go.
No, they don't go. But I had recorded, like, I was so behind on everything, and I'd recorded an episode of my writing group recap with lipstick all over my face. That's how badly I don't look at myself. And then whenever people say, like, oh, I hate going into the fitting room because I hate looking at myself, I'm like, I don't have that problem.
Yeah, I don't go into the fitting room.
Like, I don't even look. I'll try it on and see if it actually, like, closes or whatever. But I don't actually look at, especially not my face. Like, I look at the crucial place. If I'm trying on a shirt,
no, they put shame lighting. They put shame lighting.
Shame lighting.
Shame lighting. I mean, that's a band name too.
Shame lighting. I love
shame
that
lighting.
Name. Shame lighting.
Ooh, you're shame lighting me right now.
Shame lighting. Yeah, it's like gaslighting, but it's shame lighting. It's nice.
Yeah, but they do. They put shame lighting in there, and
they
you're
do.
Just like,
oh my God,
what? Then there's probably like subliminal, like,
oh my God,
Jenny
and then they're
Craig
like, you're ugly as fuck, but buy this, it might make you better. Like, that's what it is. Oh my God. Seriously, that's why I'm not buying into it. I'm gonna say no. I'll say no to that shit. Like, yeah. And I refuse to buy into that whole,
I'm not buying into
lifestyle.
No, I'm not
buying shit. So no, exactly. But that's.
I mean, never mind the fact that I couldn't fit it over my fucking leg.
Well, then you don't need to look at it.
Yeah,
see,
forget
that's
it. Forget it.
It's like, we have such discipline. We're like, can't pull it over my leg. don't need to look
Hence
in the mirror.
the moo-moo. I mean, that is how it got invented,
Moo-moos
right?
are so awesome.
Yeah.
I say yes to moo-moos.
I say
like,
yes to
I
moo-moos.
freaking love them. You know, I was literally thinking today, I was like, I need some more moo-moos because moo-moos are so pretty. They're so pretty. They're so cocktaily too.
And you can belt them. I mean, if you dare.
They're so multi.
You can use them as curtains later.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Later
Sound of
on,
Music.
Yes.
Remember?
I mean, so beautiful. I think we should wear moo-moos like.
Speaking of the Admiral,
right?
That's how she hooked up with the Admiral.
See?
It's all leading full circle.
Full freaking circle.
Or the captain. I guess he was
a captain. Whatever. We tried.
He was technically an admiral in that.
No, he wasn't. I think the Admiral is like Navy, and there's mountains in Austria and no Navy. Yeah. I think, of course, by the way, I'm always wrong. The other day we were recording.
No, I think he was a captain.
He was a captain for sure. The other day he wasn't a general, right? No, he was a captain. We were recording an episode and I was like running my mouth about Edgar Allan Poe writing The Telltale Heart in this restaurant in New York. It wasn't. It was the Cask of Amontillado. So I apologize to all the Poe scholars. Again, you guys, if anybody cares to comment or whatever, we'll try to send you some alcohol.
Well, my friend Andrea, who's an Italian, he was like, "Oh, I just have one correction on the Negroni," and I was like, "Okay, well, you're gonna have to go. You're gonna have to go on the show to do it.
Just one.
So sorry, it's not gonna be that easy for you. This is not.
It's not. But we do welcome corrections because that's part of creativity. Is always kind of like we're listening, and then reacting.
No, it's an important part.
We may cry when we react, but we might also be like, thank you so much. And
we might get in a fetal position and cry.
Yeah, we might probably. That's yes. But at the same time, you might also get a bottle of liquor if we end up getting sponsored. That'll would be start nice. Wouldn't that be great?
That would be so nice.
I love that. That would that would make my day. That would improve my time significantly.
Well, we're gonna get there.
We will.
We will get there. Growth mindset.
Exactly. Growth mindset. So I'm trying to think of like a glass half full. No, I had a glass half empty. Again, like with things that you do and that you think is going to happen.
Well, I think our half full is, despite all of the obstacles, here
we are.
The obstacle is the way.
Yes.
The obstacle is the way.
I love that. That's beautiful.
And so, what is it? Ryan Holiday. That's his book. Ryan Holiday's book, The Obstacle is the Way. And it is, truly it's stoicism, and you're figuring out how to make it happen even when it looks impossible.
Exactly.
It just makes you better at what you do. It builds your character.
It does.
It makes you stronger.
It does. And I think
makes
it
your
makes
commitment,
things, it makes, it shows you what's important. Like it shows you what you're going to, and also like breaking things down into little steps and seeing that like, okay, it's an obstacle, but if I do this, that, like maybe I can get around it or over it. Or maybe it's not freaking worth it. I mean, I don't know. It depends.
Yeah. I mean, we've been getting here. And I remember the first, we met, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks in a row, just kind of brainstorming.
Yes.
And we already had a lot of ideas, but kind of putting it together in a more concrete idea.
Yeah.
And then
I
remember you just saying, okay, we're going to turn the camera on. And I'm like, what? I'm not ready to turn the camera on. And it was, and now it's like, I crave being in front of the camera.
Like submissionist.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah, no, but it's great. I mean, I think that having that option or the opportunity to be able to like speak about things and actually, but make it part of a conversation. And that's what we're really craving, is that now that we're on Instagram and all that good stuff, we're starting to see that there's this whole community of podcasters. There's a whole community of people out there putting out awesome content, but also who have these great fans. And so we're kind of entering into that mindset of like, wow, this is really one big conversation. And I kind of love that. And that's something that I think we're learning as we go along. And that's the part of trying to be flexible enough. Like we've been playing with our format a little bit. Like that first episode that we filmed sucked. And we're like,
so bad. And I was so tired. I was like, I wasn't even drunk. I was just like tired.
But we were smart enough to say, you know what? No, this freaking blows.
Well, and that's what that podcast that I sent to you. The one, what's it called?
Well, we're not going to name it.
No, we're not.
No.
But I listened to it, and it basically
it was
just
dry.
It was dry. It was dry like vermouth.
Yeah, dry like vermouth. Yeah.
Which some people like dry.
Some people do, actually. There's a whole school of thought. If people love that soothing, I think it's that.
I was just like, oh God.
Yeah, it's that soothing kind of of monotone drone.
Yeah.
And we were like, hey, awesome. Because, you know, you can't sleep through our F-bombs.
But their homework assignment was essentially to, you know, create something, whether it's a sketch or, you know, film a little clip or do something and then,
film a little clip.
You know, finish it and put it out there.
Oh.
And that was really, you know, they talk about how, you know, that is, you have to go through that process of
getting it out there.
There.
And that's exactly, and that's the thing I was going to say about our first one that we filmed. And I was like, no, you know what, this really blows.
Taking action.
And I said, well, we took action, but then we're like, no, we said no to that one because we're like, it's not good. But there are other ones that we would
pretty much have said no. We're like, exactly.
But then all those other ones that we think are so horrific, but because of the way we look, or because I was tired that day, or whatever,
or I wasn't sitting on my pillow properly.
Yeah, she's now got a pillow.
No, but every time we do it, we analyze it and we decide whether. And we had another one that we had to take down, right?
And we won't.
And we have a better idea for that one anyway.
Saying no opened up a whole other avenue that I think is better. But then also there's some to which we're like, is saying no the real thing? Are we saying no for the right reasons? Or are we saying no out of fear and embarrassment? And so when we're saying no out of fear and embarrassment, we're like, good, we'll just put it out there anyway. And if we're saying no out of a real reason, then we're like, let's have the bravery and courage to just not put that up and have to do the work to do another one, knowing that there's no excuse. I mean, it's not like we're saying no and not doing it again.
Right. Well, I think that in the case of that one situation, that one has the potential to be very great.
Right.
I feel like that one.
Well, they're two different situations.
And you don't know what we're talking about.
No. So they're two different situations. So we have our first episode of our podcast, which you'll never see because we recorded it and we were just inexperienced. We weren't interacting with the camera properly, which we still don't know how to do, but we've improved infinitely, believe me. Our angles were completely off where we were kind of slumped on this chair and our subject, it wasn't organized properly, much like this one today, but today goes with our theme of yes, no, and winging it. But that time we thought we didn't have enough material, I think. And we knew we could do it better. So we
I was too nervous.
And you were nervous. I was nervous. I mean, we were like, you know, unblinking, wide eyed, like, but then we redid it and we were like, okay, we have to put it out there. The next episode we're talking about, not the next one in terms of chronology, but a few down the road, we had our first guest and we still haven't put up a guest. You know why? Because we haven't figured out how to interact.
How to do it,
effectively within our format, which we're going to figure out, but that was a crash and burn. Like our guest was fascinating. We didn't utilize her properly.
No, there's so much more we want to do with it.
So much more. The timing was off of the questions. It didn't flow. She has this crazy story that we never really, I think she was nervous as well. And so she didn't get her story out there. So basically we just had this very uncomfortable person sitting between two other very uncomfortable people.
Right.
And then the sound was off and the balance was, all of it was fucked up. And we're like, you know what? It sucks that we put in, you know, how many hours
we did it too soon. We did it too soon. We need to get...
See, that's another thing of saying yes to things too soon. There is such a thing as saying yes so that you jump off. And so we're transitioning kind of neatly into our whole yes thing. Because saying yes is great because it's kind of the difference between dreaming of something and actually doing that thing, right? And you can get that adrenaline rush that comes from doing something before you're fully ready, but then you have to be realistic and be like, was I super not prepared? You know, there's a difference between not being ready and being unprepared. You know, do you think?
Well, yeah, and I feel like you have that experience every time you do something. There's always more preparation that you can do. There's always
totally. But there's that moment where
and you know, that's where that whole story about the 10,000 hours comes in, where you become an expert.
Exactly.
At your
I'm shuddering to think how many years it's going to take us to get to the 10,000.
I know. I was like, I think we have 10 hours.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh,
we're kind of fun.
We're kind of fun.
Yeah. But I think that the 10,000 hours too, we've been talking. We've been talking for 10,000 hours of our lives. And
we've been talking, yeah.
And
we've had some really good conversations for a long time. And I think that's...
Do those enter in? I think they do. I think
I think we have 10,000 hours of... Background. You know, it's kind of like that. No, but I think it's like that... who's my pod crush? David Lee Roth.
David Lee Roth.
When he talked about running with the devil and how it took 18 minutes technically to write it.
Exactly.
But it was really a culmination of all the experiences.
Culmination.
Strong.
Cheers to that.
Cheers. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yes,
I do speak Ohio sometimes. My redneck ways. Especially when I'm drinking Bulleit. My redneck ways.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah. Bulleit.
I mean, my boyfriend is like, wow, you have an accent. You know, after some Bulleit.
How cute. That's adorable. No. Okay, but no, you're so right though. David Lee Roth, like he put it nicely about culmination.
Wait, tell me how to say it again.
Culmination.
Yeah. What did I say?
Culmination.
Oh yeah. But do you remember when I used to say, oh gosh, what was the word? It was, I feel like it was a Japanese word.
I
used to say something that it's a common word, and I used to say it incorrect. Oh, Vietnamese.
Well, how would you say it?
I would say
Vietnamese.
I would say Vietnamese.
Oh my God.
I would. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
But sometimes that's so cute.
But now I work with a Vietnamese woman, and I have to say it right.
That's so not fun.
And she thinks everybody's a racist, which she's right. But
yeah, well,
I mean,
yeah, but that's not our fault. But you know,
but I was like, you don't understand. I say Vietnamese correctly now.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But yeah, I used to.
Well, my kids used to say shit wrong all the time, and I loved it. It was so cute. Like, they thought that lobsters were called hamsters.
So gross.
It was so cute. So they'd walk into a restaurant and be like, oh my God, they hamsters. I want to eat a hamster. And I thought it was so adorable. And everybody in the restaurant would be like, you're disgusting and mean. And I would never correct them. And they're so pissed at me now. Whatever. I mean, now they don't say hamster anymore, just like you with Vietnamese. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I was a grown woman when that was happening.
Well, then I told them that Easter was Halloween. Anyway, whatever.
Oh my God.
They went to a face painting thing, you know, with the Easter bunny, and they had like fangs. And, and the face painter woman was like, what the fuck's wrong with your kids? That might have something to do with me. I don't know.
I don't know.
Weird. But yeah, so
I think we should go to the thinking part.
Though. Well, yeah, we've been thinking this whole time.
I know.
Okay, so let's introduce officially, since we're in the thinking part now. Let's put on our thinking caps, our virtual thinking caps. Yes. Okay, so Shonda Rhimes, one of my massive heroes, like lady crush, big time. I mean, amazing woman just in what she's done in terms of, you know, TV and storytelling and, you know, incredible. I mean, she's such a powerhouse. It's like, dude, I want to be her one day. And I would have said when I grow up, but I think she like might be our age or something. And it's horrible. Yeah, it's so horrible. It's like, again, people like, it's never too late. But sometimes, yes, you can look at people
it's too late.
Like Shonda Rhimes and be like, well,
I'm never going to be that
awesome. But anyway, she wrote this book about the year of yes. And she also did a TED Talk about it. And that's another, you know,
I listened to the TED Talk.
Yeah. And it's another, like, that's a major goal is, I don't even care if it's TEDx, like all your fucking TED Talk and
whatever.
You know, Boise.
Ted's cousin.
Yeah, Ted's cousin. I'll talk to Ted's ex.
Ted's ex-cousin. I'll do it.
I'll talk to any of them. Exactly. I just don't care.
Ted's ex-cousin.
Ted's ex-cousin. I'll talk to him all the time. But she, I mean, I thought it was kind of interesting. Do you remember something about her motivation for launching this year of yes? Why a year or two? I was kind of like, did she think it would stick more if she did a whole year? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but I think she had to pick a time, and that's a long enough time to really get something out of it, and to accomplish a lot of things that you say yes to. For sure. And
I think she'd done it. I think it was her sister or something said that she'd become super boring and was, you know, completely just doing.
Well, wasn't she like a workaholic?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was.
I just remember the story of her. You know, her children would always say, let's play,
and she'd be like, no, exactly.
I gotta work. Yep,
that's what it was.
Get out of my car.
Yeah, well, yeah, and her sister was the one who pointed that out to her, I believe, that she wasn't interacting with family as much as she could and all that stuff. But she also kind of felt like she wasn't getting as far as she could in work, even though she was a workaholic. And well, that's kind of interesting. So I was looking at this thing of saying yes, and I was thinking to myself, okay, there's so many things that I would say yes to maybe, but also so many things where I'm like, if I say yes to that, because, again, we've mentioned before, like I have a volunteer tattooed on my forehead.
Yeah, I mean, self-preservation is something that you have to, I mean, I have none.
Right. So I read a lot of things around what she had said, because she, had made this her message about saying yes. A lot of other people who kind of tried her saying yes for a week or a month, or none of them actually lasted a year, but they're like, let's lay down some ground rules here. You can't just say yes to everything. I mean,
you can't. Like, if your boyfriend's like, can I have a blowjob again?
Yeah,
you
can't
be like, yes, every single time.
Exactly.
I know. I always talk about sex. It's kind of important.
Yes. So yeah, that's an example that if saying yes is going to impact your mental health, right? Your physical health, if it's going to work your last nerve, if it's going to, there's some reasons. She's dying laughing here. I think your example was a good one. It was.
That's ridiculous.
As she dies.
Oh my God, he's never gonna watch it, so I don't have
Thank
to worry
God.
about
See, we had an episode where we talked about none of our friends or partners watch this. My husband just liked so 30 funny. Of my Instagram pictures at once so that he could be like, I'm supportive. And I was like, my God, not.
Paul wouldn't even do that.
I was like, I see when you did that, weirdo. But no, but you have to.
He was sitting next to you.
Ding, 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 ding. I was like,
anyway,
stupid.
keep going.
So yeah, so when you decide whether you're going to say yes. Okay, first, is it financially possible?
Never.
Right, first of all, never. But at the same time, let's open our mind and be like, okay, how can I make this financially possible? Is it going to make me crazy? So, if somebody's like, hey, can you join this thing where the commitment is like 30 hours a week? You're like, fuck no. Because it's not possible.
It's not realistic.
It's not realistic. And then you have to start looking, because saying yes to absolutely everything or almost everything is great if you're trying to launch yourself into a whole new life. Like, if you're one of these people that we're talking about who's turning their life around, like, your kids are gone, you've kind of stepped out of this obligation role, like you're in full on creative happy hour. Let's be a little crazy.
Well, but I also
say
think
yes to everything. Right?
When you're in those places where you're like, yeah, sure, I'll go to your thing, or I'll come, there is something about it creates a lot of opportunity and a lot of choices.
Yes.
And I think, and that's when, once you have a lot of opportunities and a lot of choices, then you can start having discretion about what it is you do and don't want to be involved with.
It's a whole cycle. And you have to learn how to, if you say yes, but then, and then that stuff builds up. You're so right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been in those places in my life where there's a lot of, and I'm saying yes. And then all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, getting this momentum, and I can't put the brakes on, and I don't want to offend anyone or decrease my opportunities. But you kind of, at a certain point, you have to commit to something.
Right. Like, I always feel like I'm always at some point on that cycle of either, like, because I'm at that point where, I am trying to make new creative opportunities for myself, but I am working on a very specific project. So I have to say no to so much stuff now, because that's the other thing. Like, so that's what I was saying about, if you're in that kind of, I'm figuring out what I want to do creatively, I'm figuring out the next chapter, saying yes to everything is great, because exactly like you said, it brings those opportunities.
Opens up a lot of opportunities.
You meet all these new people. You're doing these different things. You're trying things out, and that's fantastic. However, if you're working on a project like I am, you cannot say yes to things. You have to say no to more things, because you're incapable of focusing if your time
takes away.
It takes away. But then the thing is, you turn around and you're like, oh my God, like I haven't stepped out of the house for, a long time. Or, oh my God, I haven't like met anyone new in, however much time. Or I feel like I'm on this one track thing. And
it's a cycle. It's a cycle. So you have to put yourself out there. Sometimes you have to go inward and get focused. And then you have to go back out and get the stimulation again.
gather
get the stimulation. I mean, I think a lot of creative energy is kind of stimulating the.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we're talking
interactions and the.
Right. We're talking about creativity is like connections and stuff like that. So that's kind of major. And I think, the other thing I was thinking was, okay, why don't you analyze like what the person who's asking you to do these things, what is their intention? Like, before you say yes to something,
Ooh, I like that.
Right?
I like that. That's
yeah,
a really good. It's like a litmus test.
Yes, like I don't think that was in Shonda's book. So maybe something that she doesn't do that we did is that we analyzed it that far. Was that
I think she was specifically just saying yes as a project.
Oh, absolutely.
That was the project.
Oh, that was the project completely. But for me, I'm much more, suspicious of absolutely everything. And I was thinking, it's a good litmus test. Like, what does the person want out of this? Why are they asking you?
Right.
Are they asking you because they're one of these people who wants to bring you into their world and that they think that you're going to enrich their world and that's going to be mutually beneficial? Are they using you as a crutch?
Yeah. Do they want something from you?
Yeah. Like, is there something like, are they going to something like, I really think you should come rock climbing, even though you're like, I'm petrified of rock climbing.
I don't rock climb.
I don't rock climb, period. I never will. Are they doing that because they don't want to go alone or they're scared and they want your support, which is fine, but it's just good to know why. Right? Like, find your why.
Find your why. I mean, it all fits together.
No, right? Yeah, for sure. But so when the times that you've said yes, can you think of any situations where you've said yes to something that you wouldn't usually have done and have been either happy about it or sorry about it?
I mean, I've been, yes, I have, recently, last summer, I took a second job. And initially I did that, because I switched jobs in my,
your sucky job.
Yeah. So my suck. Yeah, that's what I do. I suck spit for a living. But anyway, I needed the extra income because my daughter's ballet tuition is very expensive. And so there was part of it where I was saying yes to it because it met a certain need at a certain time.
But it was also a fun balance job.
And it was a fun balance, But now I feel like it's starting to get in the way.
Yes.
And
I'm saying to that cycle.
Yeah, it is. Part. And I'm starting to, I met a lot of people. I've had a lot of experiences that help me kind of distill what I do and don't want to do. And I really, really value my downtime or my alone time, which is very
so
little.
Much more.
So much more. And I think, and I'm more clear about like, okay, well, if I had more time, this is what I would be doing with it.
Yeah.
And so, at the end of the day, that extra $600-800 in income, because it's a little, part-time gig,
right?
Is it worth taking away from the bigger story project that I'm working on? Because that's really where my heart is. And so, but I wouldn't have really known that without the contrast. And I think it really is good to bite off more than you can chew sometimes.
Sometimes it is. Like, and notice how...
To know your limits.
Oh, totally.
You kind of have to learn your limits.
And notice how it's been like a year.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, notice how it's been pretty much a year since you took that job. Yeah. I think it took a year for it to crystallize. Like, you got a lot of the benefits out of it for a year, and now you're starting to see a little bit more clearly that, like, maybe this is something that, you know that you need it in one direction, but now maybe you're going to be brainstorming about how do I make up that income?
Yeah, how do I make up the income, and how do I, because value isn't just, I guess the value of money isn't just, they say that cliche thing, time is money, right? And it's true.
It can be in many ways, yeah.
But I think your time doesn't have, you cannot put you can. I mean, I think, Karl Marx would argue that you can actually put a
value,
like a money value on it. However,
I think that
I'm realizing that my time is so much more valuable than that money provides.
Well, yeah, I think that I think that our view of how much our time is worth kind of changes over time, right? So that's another thing about saying yes to things. Like I used to say yes to a lot more volunteer opportunities, which I knew they were bringing me an advantage because I was learning some skills, I was meeting people, I was doing things, getting into new situations, blah, blah, blah. However, at the time, I felt like my time wasn't worth money that much. And then as we actually made money with the charities I was helping, or if I helped raise funds, or once I started working where I was billing by the hour as a decorator or billing by the word as a writer, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, my time is worth X amount. Like I got an actual figure in my head of what my time was worth. But that I think is also an intermediate thing where, okay, now we're in this point where our time is worth X money and it's more than we ever thought it would be. And then I think we move past that to where like, is this worth my like emotional, intellectual, and creative well-being?
Yeah. And I think it's at this point where I'm coming to, I'm coming to this place where, you know, I'm going to have to say no to it.
Right.
Because it doesn't fit anymore.
Exactly.
I've expanded this part of myself.
Yes.
And I think a lot of time, you know, at that time I was in a fear mode about money.
Yeah, and I think that the fear is a major thing. Like the saying yes is a major thing because of the fear. Like so many times we don't say yes because of fear.
Are you afraid you're going to miss out? Or are you afraid you're going to hurt somebody? Or are you afraid to say no because you're afraid they're not going to ask you again?
Right. So I thought, and since I know you need to run out, and so we're winging it and we're doing a shorter happy hour than usual because that's just the nature of today. I want to do a quick rundown of like the key reasons to say yes.
Yes.
Just so we can be clear about that. And then I was going to go through a really brief thing of how to say no kindly when you need to say no.
Oh, I like this. I like that. Oh, this is helpful for me too. Yeah.
So reasons to say yes. Start shooting some out.
Oh, okay. The reason to say yes is because you really want to do it. You really want to participate in it.
Yeah, that's cool. Or
you're excited about it.
You're excited about it.
You're trying to break into something new.
Yeah. I love that. Like, I think that somebody asking you to do it kind of gives you permission to try that new thing too. It's kind of like that security blanket in a way. You're like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I think also a good reason to say yes is because you're afraid and you realize that you are, and that you think, okay, this is going to force me to do it. Right. You know, anything else? Saying yes. You've got the adrenaline rush.
Yeah, I mean, to learn something new. I know that when I started with Black's Farmwood, I had no experience with sales. I had no experience with
that was a great
reclaimed lumber. Yeah. And I went into it completely clueless, and I said yes.
Yes, and you said yes, and you learned so much.
I learned a lot.
Yes.
I learned a lot about myself, about sales, you know, about a lot of different things. So to learn something new, to challenge yourself, I think is a reason to say yes.
For sure. I think that that's amazing. And then when you see your limits and that you know that this is going to challenge your limits, that's a really great way to stretch yourself a little bit more. And also when you see that your life is maybe going in a direction that you're not thrilled with, or that you're reacting to something that somebody said or done that you're like, ooh, this is kind of a wake-up call. Like, I think that saying yes is a great way to break out of that and to test the waters without, like, you know, and since you've been asked to do it, I think there's almost this thing of like, well, I was asked to do this. I'm doing this for the other person who asked me. So there's kind of that fallback where you're like, well, if it doesn't work out, I'll tell them I did this for you, and then I can.
The other reason I will say yes to people is if it's someone who says yes to me a lot.
For sure.
And I consider that friend money in the bank, where it's like they do something for me and I want to know that they're going to do it for me in the future. And if you have that kind of, you know, relationship, because there are people in your life, in your community that you're like, okay, it shouldn't be a score-keeping thing by any means. No,
but it does kind of work out.
But it's a balance in the universe.
For sure.
And I think that that's important.
For sure. And also, like, if a friend has done a lot of things with me, if I'm like, oh, let's go see this art show, or let's go to this concert, and they've been like, yes, let's do it. Then if they ask me to do something, even if it's not really my speed, like they'll ask me to go see a documentary on something random that I'm like, I'll go, you know what? I'll go do it. Yes, because you've, you know, done all this stuff with me when I asked you to do it. Fantastic. So I think that that's... It
keeps the integrity of the relationship clean and healthy.
I agree. And I think that doing new things with a friend actually does, like,
brings you out of
it bonds you as well. Like, in your friendship, it gives you, you know, it totally wakes up a relationship, whether you're doing it with a friend or with a spouse or with a partner. It's kind of cool. Okay, but now we're going to bring it down to kind ways of saying no when you need to say no. The first one is don't be afraid to be direct.
Oh,
okay. So just
usually have a hard time being direct.
It, you know, on and off, but instead of being like, oh, I don't know, or I'll try or whatever, like, no, just say, I can't. Or, you know, I don't have time for that right now or whatever. Like, honestly, it might sound a little harsh, but then you can explain it a little bit more, but don't be like, oh, I'll try. Cause I know so many people who are like, oh yeah. And then at the last minute, they back on you and you're like, I can kind of feel that they never were going to do it. And you're like, this is going to drive me crazy.
Yeah. So, and you wish they would have just told you from the beginning.
For sure. So just be really direct. Like, I find that being direct is kinder. So just like, no, I can't. I have told myself I wouldn't, or I decided not to.
I did that recently with my friend Gavin, and I said, you know, I couldn't do it, and there were multiple times that I couldn't do it, and then, but I said, you know what? It's not because I don't want to. It's because I literally don't have time.
Right.
And please don't give up on me as a friend.
I like that. I like the don't give up on me. I like the don't give up on me, or I love, like, hey, giving a date for, like, no now, but, you know, at the end of April, my schedule clears up and let's do this, or let's plan something further ahead of time. Like, let's set that up. Okay. So I was saying, do not apologize and give all sorts of reasons.
Right.
Don't say, oh my God, you know, my dog's sick, my man. You don't need to apologize. Just be like, I really want to. I can't. But let's, alternative. Let's do this later or let's do this other thing. So that's good. Don't lie. Lying is a mess. If you get caught out in your lie as to why you can't do something or won't do something, you're gonna get either caught or feel like shit, or you're not gonna. These things are gonna keep coming up.
Yeah, and you're not the person that you're in a relationship with is not gonna feel valued because they're gonna know you're lying.
They're gonna figure it out.
If they know you, they're gonna know you're lying.
Exactly, and even if you think it's a white lie to like spare their feelings, no, you're gonna be much better.
It's like how many times does your mom have heart surgery?
I know. You're like that's a lot. You should maybe ask your mom like what's up. Practice. Think of scenarios where it's important for you to say no, but where in the past you've had a hard time doing it.
Yeah. And
literally kind of go over what happened and practice. Like, how would I say this in a nice way? I think that's always good. I kind of keep a little bank of like, oh, no can do emails or texts in my mailbox kind of so that I can kind of refer back, which is nice. So never say, I'll think about it if you know you're not going to think about it. Like, honestly, come on. Who doesn't know if they want to do something from the get-go? You do know you don't want to do it. Or sometimes, very honestly, you'll be like, okay, I can do this.
Only if you're weighing out whether you want to do this other thing or not. I mean, I always found like when I moved to California, like people are like, oh yeah, like
let's play it by ear.
Yeah.
No, fuck you.
If this other cool thing that I want to do doesn't work out, then I'll come to your thing.
Yeah, you're like, no, let me know. Like, don't play it by ear. That's not
California
cool.
thing.
And don't think about it because thinking about it, you're like, listen, the only thing that I think is acceptable is you saying, yes, you know what, and admitting like, hey, I'm really scared to do this, but I'm going to definitely try to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that you mean it 100%, but you don't get a million of those, you don't get that in the bank. Like you do that, you pull that on your friend more than a couple times, they're going to give up on your friendship. They're done. So remember that your self-worth and how good or nice a person you are doesn't depend on saying yes to random shit to people. Like it has to be something that's mutually beneficial and agreeable or something that you do. Like I've often thought that when somebody asks me for a favor, I'm not going to do it if I'm going to end up resenting the person. You know, like
but you have to know yourself well enough to know that.
But like one of my friends who I love and she's super adorable, but every time she'll say yes to people and then she resents the living shit out of them and she's like, oh my God, I did this for them and now I feel so tired and she gets mad and I'm like, don't do anything where you're going to end up resenting the other person or feeling bad.
Yeah, because what's the point of that? You don't get
what is the point?
No one gets anything good out of that.
Exactly. So our homework would be know thyself. Do your list of yeses and nos.
Yes,
learn how to do that.
That is in the Oracle of Delphi. Know thyself.
Know thyself. And otherwise, feel free to wing it, just like we have. Suggest more cocktails that we can do.
Make yourself a lemon tart.
Exactly. A lemon
or
tart.
An Admiral, all the way. Whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want to call it. Sir, yes, sir. And we will see you guys next time.
Cheers.